Welcome to the Trails Committee meeting tonight, May 30th, calling the meeting to order at 7:31. We're going to do a roll call vote. Let me know that you're here when I call your name. Will Warren.
Here.
Satyendra Sharma.
Yeah.
Tom McCoolier.
Here.
Kat McKee here. Great. Thank you all. Okay, so our first order of business is the minutes. Thank you, Sati, for drafting those. I circulated them before the meeting. Would you like me to pull them up if you've not had a moment to look at them? I'm going to take that as a no, you're all set.
We're all set.
Okay, great. Okay, so does someone want to make a motion to approve said minutes? 5/16/2024 minutes?
I move we approve the minutes as it written.
Okay, do we have a second?
I'll second it.
Thank you, Tom. All right, let's do a roll call and let me know that you vote yay or nay. Tom McCoolier,
Yes.
Will Warren,
Yes.
Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
Kat McKee, yes, great motion. The minutes passed. Thank you very much. Okay, so next up is phase 1 Peninsula Trail Mass Trails Grant. So Tom, you're working to get me hours.
Yep.
And so I was supposed to submit by tomorrow. Won't be able to do that, but next week will be the target.
It says to do. I can't see it though.
Oh, okay, great. Thank you. Yeah, so if you don't mind, that would be great. And I have Sati and Wills, thank you. And so I'll be reaching out to DPW to connect about the expenses and the in-kind support, see if we can get the payroll records and whatever else we need. So hopefully we'll be able to wrap that up, submit that next week for reimbursement. It is time sensitive. As part of that project, we talked last time and I was not able to fulfill getting in touch with Sati, that Sati and I were going to work on some signage ideas and then bring back to the committee. So that has not happened, but we can recommit tonight to do so in the next week or so. And what we're trying to do is basically draft our signage, get a quote, and have it PO'd by the end of before the end of June. So we, PO'd meaning procured funds. So I think it's possible. We're going to do a number of interpretive signs and a trailhead sign. So I guess as a committee, Sati and I will set up to send you some brainstorms, and then we'll need to move pretty quickly. In the interim, I'll reach out to our rep and let her know that we'll be sending her some stuff, just kind of reconnecting. She's been really good about following up. It's Fossil Industries out of New York. And so she'll be pleased to hear that we're finally ready to move forward. And I'll just see if what their timeline is for design work, because we'll need to hire them to help us do some of that, as long as we give them text. And we can leverage ChatGPT, as I already had mentioned. I used it, just tapped it a little bit and got some great input. I do have a question for the committee is, we can certainly vet all the information and come up with it our own, and we can talk to DCR Andy Leahy, but is there anybody else in town that we might want to incorporate or brainstorm with to, given it's kind of our first big initiative of putting in signs and interpretive signs, wanting to make sure like best practices, do's and don'ts, focus of information. Anyone have any thoughts on who we might be able to reach out to connect on that?
What about the people who run Hopkinton State Park?
That's good.
Or is that too many layers? I don't know.
No, I kind of like it. It's actually DCR, right? They run Hopkinton, but it's a good idea. Remember when we were, Will, I think you were in the court.
Yeah, I was there. Yep.
That interpretive guy. We should look at that. He had some slides. So we could kind of revisit that. I'm just wondering if I'm wondering, let's see, who would we connect with?
Well, are there any towns around here who have good signs in their trails?
Yeah, Ashland definitely has, because that's who we got the recommendation for, the vendor Fossil Industries.
Oh, well, that probably we would have to go through fewer layers of bureaucracy there.
Yeah, maybe. I'm just wondering.
DCR DCR might also be able to connect us with, with people. I know when we were there that day and they were talking about, getting a bridge put in, the guy who was speaking seemed to be in
Yep.
contact with the details.
Yeah, no, it's good. And maybe what we're thinking about is if we can look at those the trail conference slides and connect with that person. I think all I'm looking to do is have like a quick sanity check to make sure, because we're going to spend some money on these nice signs and we really want to do a good job. So kind of consulting with someone on that level
Yeah.
would be useful. Yeah. So okay, so let me try to dig that out and see what we can come up with. And Sati, any chance you have any time over like the later half of the weekend to connect? I don't want to take your weekend time, but I don't know if you do or not. I'll just put it out there.
Yeah, sure. I mean,
Maybe like Sunday
nighttime.
sometime. Yeah, like not Saturday. Like if we took Saturday off, it's like that's our day to have off and no
Yeah.
rates or obligations. Sometime on Sunday. I mean, if
Sunday.
Sunday morning is better for you, I could maybe. I don't want to take. I want to be respectful of gardening time and chill time with coffee or tea.
Yeah, I mean, how about later in the day, maybe in the evening?
Okay, yeah,
Is
I can
that
do
good?
that, and then we can have a whole day to do whatever we
Yeah.
need to do.
Yeah.
Okay, yeah, let me, I'll reach out to you offline Sunday PM.
Yep.
And let's see what we can do. I can maybe do some homework ahead of time and
Yep.
fast track this puppy. Okay, great. So, and then I think we also spoke, and Tom, this is just for catching you up, is if, for example, the in-kind support that DPW had promised at about 22,000 doesn't come up to 22,000 for any number of reasons, we can try to fast track our paving of those spots with our CPA money that will become available July 1st. And try to use that as in-kind support for the project as well, to meet our obligation of 30,000. So that was one of our ideas to kind of make sure we met that that piece of it. That would require us, I will, when I connect with DPW, talk to him, because we got the quote from him and he said it would be a contractor outside of town. So I'm going to chat with him about what that process looks like and timeline and see if we can get in the queue for that. Even if it's not for in-kind support, we just need to get in the queue and figure out what's next about that. Okay, I think that's good enough for that piece. Phase 2, next steps and kickoff. So we talked a little bit last time, and Tom, this again is just a refresh for you. Basically, we voted to forego the pro bono services because the timeline isn't working out. We haven't heard back from them. The connection is too difficult at this point. So we need to move forward. So I reached out to Melanie and spoke with Carla about getting a change order for our contract because they could not add it in as an option up front. They needed a change order process. And that's when we learned that you cannot have a change order for more than, I think the number is 25% of your core contract, which means that although the select board voted that we could spend up to 90,000 for ARPA funds for this contract, we can't. It's like in the high 70s is what we can spend. So once we add the option to have the geotechnical work, we have maybe $1,500 extra to add to if we needed more consulting, for example. So just something to note, a good lesson learned on that piece. But so I did last week reach out to Melanie and Mark and ask if they could do a change order. I've not heard yet back from them. I'll reach out tomorrow and see if Melanie assured that it should not take a long time because the core contract was already done. So we're got that going. And then David Lapointe, our project manager at Beals, is working to figure out the wetlands and the wetland delineation. We have to confirm access to the area because it is right off of Route 30. So it's really hard to kind of get to it from Route 30. MWA did give us permission to go in from their parking lot. But the challenge with that is you can get into the property, but there's a small intermittent stream. So how do we get around that? So I had maybe suggested that, you know, like they've done at Breakneck Hill, they've placed very large square grates on the ground that can just be removed when you leave And so you can, equipment and such can ride over it. So I was thinking that might be a possibility of getting, and they can use an ATV or of some sort to kind of get in there and be a smaller vehicle, so it doesn't have to be a large one to get the geotechnical borings. So we'll try to get that through that. We've reconnected with Framingham Conservation and Southborough Conservation. So our very first step is the notice of intent. We've got to get that going. And so we have the deadlines for June and July for Southborough. And it's going to be important that we keep moving at a good clip so that we can meet those conservation deadlines. Melissa also said that the DEP, Massachusetts Department of Environmental Protection, is backed up a bit. So there could be delays there. So not unexpected, but hopefully, we can move with a swift timeline so that we don't get caught, because we have some special needs to keep moving fast. Along those lines, so I reconnected with the AMC coordinator to come up with another timeline. So we had initially scheduled May for the natural surface. They were going to volunteer and help us for $250. The leadership would come out, help us design the trail as much as we can ADA compliant. And we had to move that May date because our contracting with the town was slower than necessary than we thought. So, and now we need a notice of intent before we can do the natural surface. So I asked if we could do late July or something in August. I know August is a very popular vacation month, but we can't help it. So she has provided August 17th, Saturday, August 17th. So if you could mark it in your calendars and attempt to work around it as much as you can, that would be great. The idea is, they're going to have a few volunteers come out to help us plan it. Then we'll need some volunteers to actually do the work. Okay, so we can do some of it coupled with them. And it can also be sort of a workshop in trail building, so we can leverage it in that way, like another skills building course for us. So Saturday, the 17th is a tentative for that. And in prep for that, I think one of the things that we'll need to do is talk to the, there's a gas line that goes through one of the sections that we're going to be using, just as there was on Pine Hill Road. And so we just need to talk to the gas line and have DigSafe come out, do an assessment, and then make sure the gas line is comfortable with us, not digging, but, just surface removal of the brush. So that's that piece. Yeah, and also we talked last time to Tom about spending some of our ARPA money. So we need to have most of our ARPA money committed by, Carla wants it committed by 6/30, June 30th, even though it needs to be spent or procured by, it needs to be secured and procured or whatever by the end of this year, even though it doesn't all need to be spent, it just need to be PO'd, right? And the reason is the town has to report back to the federal government about what they're going to be doing with their money. So they want to know. So one of the things, since we can only spend up to 78 something on this Beals contract, we have 144. What are we going to do with the rest of the money? Right. So, and the town needs enough time to repurpose that if that's going to happen. So reverting back to our crosswalk discussion, right? We had set aside 15,000 for ARPA funds. And when I spoke with Dave Lapointe, and we talked about the crosswalk, and I had talked to one of the other engineering firms when we were doing interviewing, and they said, yeah, the crosswalk is not as easy and straightforward because of the bend in the road and the visibility and how far you have to have that away from a curve. So it could be a little bit more costly than we expect, and we might need something bigger and brighter, not like a full, there's different layers of crosswalks, like different levels, and they cost different ways. So one thing we could do is we would need to get 3 quotes, but we could put that out to quote from engineering companies and see what we could get for a quote and see if we could get that nailed down. Now, it would require fast movement. So obviously things have to kind of flow into place, and we would need approval from the board, the select board, to reallocate from one ARPA bucket to another ARPA bucket for that purpose. So how does the committee feel about if we go ahead and try to do that?
Makes sense.
Yep.
And then that would hopefully, in the effort, it would secure the parking for Sanofi, I just need to, I mean, the thing of it is, just running through a few ideas on that is Sunapee may need, like the town may need more of a commitment from Sunapee to put the crosswalk in. Like if they're not gonna give us parking, then there's no real need to put the crosswalk in.
Mhm.
That's the whole idea. So again, a few moving parts that, and I don't know that they'll give a full commitment. In a world where, yeah, so I guess it's just an ask. We'll have to figure it out. But yeah, that needs to happen on the sooner on the sooner side too. Okay, next up is yoga on the trails. So Emma Bartolini reached out and she wants to resume the series of yoga on trails, and I think that's a great idea. It's a nice hands-off project. I don't mean to say like that so much, but we set the registration and go. And then she handles the day-to-day, so it doesn't require us, I mean, she handles the on-site, so it doesn't require us to be on-site. And we have a good location, we have good parking, and it worked out really well last year. So I think, so she put out some dates if the committee is open to it. So there's one of two things, like one is we have some money to spend from our budget this year, right? Fiscal year ends June 30th. So we want to spend our budget, the Trails Committee budget. So we need to do some programming, and we also can spend it on the bench and stuff that we'll talk about shortly. But so one of the dates she's proposing is Saturday, June 15th. And if again, it doesn't require us to be there, so I think I'm prepared to commit to that if you guys think that's a good idea to start.
Yep,
thinking about.
definitely. Yep.
And whether that comes out of SC Trails Committee budget or our if we had grant funding remaining from another grant that needs to be used up, because I believe we had like 1 or 2 guided hikes left in one of our grants, so we can look at doing that, using that funds just to use it up. So I can check with Carla to see if there is some remaining funds, as I suspect they will be. So Saturday, June 15th is good. She also offered up in July, the following dates, July 14th, July 28th. And in August, it was 11th, 17th, and the 18th. And in September, the 14th and the 28th. And in October, October 12th and October 26th. So technically, depending on our funding, we may be able to do most of these. It's $75. So let me just 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. So that's 750. So I think it depends on how much budget we have. We actually could probably do that out of our core budget remaining this year. And to kind of use it up, or we could split that with, if we have other grant funding, we could do a divide and conquer on that.
Mm-hmm.
So that's how many what did we say it was?
There was 10 of them.
10, thank you. So I guess, does someone want to propose that we move forward with, either between 5, we'll just range it from 5 to 10 sessions this year for yoga on the trails, and that we will, if the funding isn't where we think it is and we need to reduce the number of sessions, we'll lean towards the 5. If we have full budget, we'll lean towards 10.
The only thing at the end is we might as well just use as much as, not 5 or 10, just as much as the budget will allow. So it could be 6 or 8.
As much as the budget will allow, which would be like roughly between 5 and 10 sessions.
Right.
Yeah.
So moved.
Okay, so that's Tom moved.
Second.
Who is that, Will?
Second.
Thank you, Will. All in favor, Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
Will Warren,
Yes.
Tom McCoolier.
Yep. Yes.
Yes, great. Wonderful. So that's a wonderful thing. So I'll let her know, and then we will start advertising that stuff. Any lessons learned from last year, other than I learned about being very specific with GPS coordinates and making sure that we don't do it in 2 different locations ever. Yeah.
I think the good thing is consistency at the location so people can plan on it.
Mm-hmm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I like it. Same place, different days.
Yep.
Also, do we pick rain dates when we advertise the initial?
No, I think if
Those
it
are really
rains, it's
hard.
gone.
Yeah, those are
So
really
rains, it's
hard.
canceled?
Yeah, those are really
Okay.
hard and yeah, they're just hard. It's hard
Because
to work
people,
around.
once they see the schedule, they'll put it in their own personal calendar, and if it rains, it's canceled, it's gone.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So yeah, I think it would be good to have that consistency and gain. She said people have been asking about it, so that's exciting, right? Okay, so something I want to flip back on, well, actually it comes up next. So voluntary recruitment. So I did notice that the town has adjusted our seat number. We're down one. So we do need to, I have let our social media kind of go to the wayside. So I've got to start building that back up. I took a little bit of a break from it, but really, now that we're getting more active in the summer and stuff, we need to shoot for that. It would be great if the next person that comes on board is social media guru and they can take that on, right? Maybe we can even advertise that as one of the skill sets we're looking for. I don't know, but we can start putting that out. We can also use the town alert system to make an announcement. And I have a question. So I was in the town hall and I stopped by the IT department just to say hi and just ask them. I said, hey, we need a refresher on working with our website. Who should I be working with? And it's Haseen. So we'll work with him on that. I wanted to ask and it probably makes sense to have a couple people trained up on that. Does anyone have a particular interest in working with our website so that we could have at least 2 people trained? And we'll come out of this with some tutorials and stuff so that even if the 2 people that are trained go away, there'll be some standard operating procedures in place so people can kind of pick that up and go, and it won't be such a loss for the committee. Does that make sense?
I
Yep.
can,
I've already been trained, and I would have some interest in working with it.
Okay, Sati, you said 2?
yes,
Okay, great. So yeah, more the merrier. So let's see if we can find a mutually agreeable time. It's a semi-priority, except that we have other priorities, so it will kind of fall in that world. Yeah, so I think that would be great if we get a multiple of us, and then we can kind of divide and conquer some tasks. But let me think. There's something. Volunteer recruitment. Oh yes, terms. We're up. Sati, Tom, me. We're up for renewal. Yep, 'cause we had staggered. Yep, we had staggered
I'm-
terms.
I'm actually up too. From what I
No,
sent,
you
I sent Melanie an email saying, yes, I'd like to be reappointed.
Well, you shouldn't be up. It's Sati, Tom, and Kat. You and Isabella were up last year because we had that 1 year and 2 year thingy.
Well, I got another email from
That's okay. As
Melanie.
long as you're
Melanie,
confirmed, yes.
Melanie
We can
Osatko.
Are you
That's-
interested in continuing? I hope.
Yes.
Okay, well, Sati.
yes, I said yes already to Melanie.
Oh, good, thanks. And Tom, I think I asked you to say yes, right?
Yes, I was going to, but I'm actually on the town website. Click here for, oh, here it is. Oh, wow, boards.
Yeah, it's not an easy document.
Yeah, so Melanie, I gotta fix my computers. So Melanie sent out emails.
Yeah, and I've got an
Yes.
email here. I can just say, Melanie, we've all confirmed a yes, so we'll be in a vote in the upcoming.
I got an email. I don't know. I'd have to go back and look, but it was kind of ominous, as in if you don't respond by the 28th, your term is over, or something like that. But
Wait, no,
anyway,
our terms are over on 6:30, so anyone who threatens otherwise must face me.
okay.
Then that's.
Can
a
we
good
sell
thing.
tickets?
All right, here it is. Actually, yeah, vacancy of Will Warren goes to the 2025.
Okay, so I'm gonna copy Sati and Tom McCoolier on this, just so we're all in the up and up in the Trails Committee now. I'm in the Trails.
I'm scheduled to be empty-headed until 2025. Wow.
Thank you, Catherine. Okay, so this is good and done. Thank you very much.
Oh, alphabetically is listed, and Mark Coolier for the very first time is on the top of the list.
Wow.
I know, Mark Hooters never get to the top of the list.
Oh, well, you're just so lucky. Okay. Okay, so next up is closing out trails. So I see, Will, that you shortcutted yourself, your project into one link and one suggestion. Thank you for
Well,
doing some work.
well, I went and I researched, Kat,
Yep.
and these concrete benches, even concrete benches, are $600 to $1,000, and they're very difficult to haul around.
I know.
And then I thought,
Yeah.
well, why don't we just make them on site? And I have gotten confirmation that MWRA would supply all the water we needed, as long as we have a bucket to go down to the reservoir.
Uh-huh.
But I mean, if you look at,
Oops, I clicked on your link.
yeah, it's a YouTube link. If you look at, what they come up with, requires minimal tools and it requires minimal fuss and muss. And, it's reinforced. They have a little suggestion for how to reinforce it.
Mhm.
I think it would be more than adequate. And like I said, I think would be less than $100 a bench.
How long do you think it would take per, like, once you put your mold together, to put the mold together? How many hours do you
Well,
think?
to put the mold together, I mean, if you've got an electric saw, it's going to take couple hours. If you are careful with it.
And then if
and
we
then
put in
you
4
reuse
benches, yeah.
you reuse that over and over. You don't
Yep.
you don't make won't make one for each bench.
How do you get the concrete out of the mold?
You unscrew the form, and then
Yeah.
it comes out.
So 2 hours for the making, then maybe an hour or 2 per bench, you think?
Well, yeah, but you have to let it cure. So I mean, you're not going to build all 4 benches in a day. You're going to you're going to put your stuff into a wheelbarrow. You're going to go over to the site. You're going to take your bucket down to the reservoir and get some water. You're going to mix everything up and make your, cast the bench where you're going to do it, and then just leave it alone for, I don't know, a week or something, let it cure. And then after that, just unscrew everything, set your bench up wherever, at the site, and then go on to the next one. It's, very, very simple. And you don't have to worry about toting it in from the road. You don't, and also the price is much, much, much less.
It is a good idea. Except if I estimate 2 hours per bench plus the 2 hours, it's about 10 hours. I don't have 10 hours. Anybody have 10 hours? We don't have 10. I think it might be more time intensive than we're looking to.
I'll be glad. I'd be glad to do it, to tell you the truth. I mean,
no, I appreciate it. And if we were trying to save, now I don't mean to sound rude when I say this, but if we were trying to be very cost sensitive, I would definitely vote for that. And I think it's actually something we should consider maybe making in the future. But in this case, we do have a little bit of money that we can put to have a couple of nice benches in key locations. And then I think we can choose, Will, to do and move forward with that type of idea for other areas that we might need. And the other benches that I'm referring to may not be the concrete ones, to your point that they're very heavy.
well, yeah, but I thought the issue was that if they're not concrete, they're going to get stolen.
I don't, okay, so there is a risk of theft with everything we do.
Okay, I mean, if you're going to go non-concrete, then you really want to go with something that's going to be, relatively easy to carry in. But the reality is that, well, I mean, if somebody's got an ATV, I guess you could put it on the back of an ATV, right?
Or, I mean,
yeah, I mean, a bench like that you're showing on the screen, fine. But I mean, what's the price of that? The price of that is like $700, $800.
5 to 7, yeah, 5 to 700, right? And this is made of a recycled plastic. Again, we'd want to do some research to make sure the types of materials we're using. But if you notice, like a lot of park benches are made of this recycled polymer type of material. It's long lasting, low maintenance. that type of thing. And this might be a little heavier, someone's not gonna be able to take that out. It is consideration, Will, that people would steal things, but I think we're gonna have to give the benefit of the doubt a little bit. And if I eat my words, then I will be the first one to admit that I was.
What
Well-
should be the dimensions of the bench?
What was that, Will? Sati?
How large? I mean, what are the?
Oh,
Do we have the
dimensions?
yeah.
Yeah, so this is 6 feet long, I think is the idea. So I think 6 feet is a good one.
Okay.
Here's an example of, this was like $500 here. And it depended on, and you can have an like a message engraved. So I think there, one of two things, we could dedicate a bench to somebody. We could have a nice quote, a nice, something, a nice nature oriented quote on the top of it. I kind of like that idea. I think the dedication, we just need to make sure we're not, we could dedicate one to Tim Davis because he was such an amazing recreational director, and
Where did he go to, by the way?
he went to Brookline. So
Oh,
did you
wow.
hear about that, Tom?
Yeah, I did. So it's very funny that my neighbor down in Rhode Island, he used to be a selectman in the town of Brookline, and now he's the town moderator. I am
so-
gonna have to like talk to him about that poaching.
I know. So yeah,
Well, I mean,
yeah,
I imagine it's a big step up in a lot of dimensions,
it is.
especially
It's a great
complexity.
opportunity.
Yeah,
Mm.
great
Oh, yeah.
opportunity.
Big loss for Southborough. So anyway, we could do something like that.
But dedication, I'm not sure if dedication is done for living people also. I mean,
Oh, I
Oh.
see what you're saying. I mean, it's
Good point.
I like that. I like the question, but you know what? It's kind of like having a celebration of life before or after you pass, because would you, some people choose to be a part of that ahead of time because they're there and it's great to have that person, you say goodbye to that person in life. And in this case, like, I guess, wouldn't it be nice if we did dedicate it to like trail supporters, or I think we do need to make sure we're not crossing any rules that could pose a problem, but I guess it could go either way, right? Like, we could be honoring someone who's been a trail supporter and we appreciate them. And if they are still with us, like, but does it have to be postmortem? Do they have to be?
no, I'm asking this, just posing a question. Is it appropriate? I mean, we can do whatever we want, but that's not, I mean.
Do you
that's not-
feel it's offensive, Sati? Like, in as you think about it? It's a good question. I'm glad you raised it.
Well,
But
I guess the problem for Tim would be if somebody saw it and then they said, "Oh my God, the poor guy died."
well, okay, okay. None of this is funny, but you're making me laugh, so I'll stop. We'll figure that out. I like it. So anyway, that's one idea. We don't have to get super complicated if we don't want to
Yeah.
put anything on it, but I kind of like the idea. And I do like having at least one stone bench. I think stone's a wonderful, it's just natural. And but they're heavy, so it's not going to be a 6-footer. It's going to be a
Well, it's not going to be stone. It's going to be concrete. It's the bottom
past,
line.
I think. We could just
Pardon?
make one out of the wood, out of the concrete, or out of the stones. We could just stack some stones and call it a bench.
No, but actually, I have a concrete bench that I bought more than 20 years ago that I'd be glad to donate.
Did you show me a picture of that at the end of your road?
Yeah,
Yeah. Okay.
I mean, and that's what most of the concrete benches kind of look like, to tell you the truth.
How long
I
ago
mean,
did
if-
you buy that?
About 20 years ago, when my children
20.
were 4 or 5.
And it hasn't fallen apart, right? That's good.
No, it
You know how
hasn't.
sometimes
I
the
mean,
sides can crumble?
no,
Good.
it's perfectly fine. I mean,
They made
believe it or
concrete
not,
good back then.
they make concrete good now. They really do.
Okay.
Concrete. There's don't you have a bunch of concrete somewhere in your yard or something? Some bags that just spontaneously concreted?
Where did they are somewhere at rock hard concrete bag that I have no way to dispose of. And I tried to get my trash picker upper to pick it up and they just left it.
Maybe we could take the the wrapping off and just pile those, and that could be a bench. How's that?
Now you're thinking.
Yes, but
So-
I'm just saying, I mean, if we have the money and you want to get, a bench like the one that you're showing, that's fine. We can certainly
Yeah,
do
a
that.
couple of those, yeah.
I guess the one question would be wrestling it down, down to where we needed to go, right?
Yeah, it's true. I
Think
mean,
about it though, how many benches are along the new Aqueduct Trail? That's paved all the way to the pumping house station, so I'm gonna assume that we're gonna have one bench
oh,
per
you mean the Peninsula Trail?
peninsula, yeah.
Yeah. Yeah, I think we do want one.
So if we want a nice stone one, like you said, they can deliver and set it up.
Oh, that's a good point. To your point is we could drive on that one. If we wanted to keep the stone for that one, that's more accessible. That is
Yes.
smart.
Oh,
So-
yeah,
And then they
yeah,
can
that's
drive
true.
right there and install it.
Well,
That's
then, in that case, you're probably you're talking, more than 700, but a lot of these places would probably deliver. I would say, that we might want to look at Home Depot or Lowe's or whatever
Yeah.
for that kind of stuff.
They are cheaper, yeah.
Yeah, so some of these are 140 pounds, 150 pounds. That's it's just a lot. And I don't even know, like,
Well, the one that you were showing is probably not 150 pounds. That's more like
it is.
100 pounds. It's 150?
Yeah, well, the Buddy Bench, for example, that had had the words Buddy Bench, that was a 6-footer, and I'm looking at it's 140 pounds.
Okay, but would that be something you'd put next to the paved road section?
I mean,
But we would put a nice stone one there, because
right.
Oh,
And this could,
okay.
yeah, this could be something we put. Yeah, we just have to see. It's a consideration. I'm just not sure. Like if we're thinking about, remember 911 Loop, we were going to put a bench in there because that has some really nice vistas of the reservoir. How would we get it back there? Like we could.
Well,
We'll
like
live
I
in
said,
a
I've already
but-
come up with a solution, Kat.
I know. So you're no longer going to help us brainstorm any other idea because you're stuck.
Well, I mean, the problem is that mass is hard to brainstorm away.
Oh, mass. Yep, got it. Okay. Yeah, but there are ways. Wheels make everything possible. As I've just reconfigured an office and been able to move the biggest things ever with wheels. So
Okay.
there's a way. There's a way. We'll just have to figure it out. And Sati, for the minutes, let the minutes reflect that Sam Stivers has
Yeah.
is a visitor.
Yeah.
Okay. So yeah, okay. We are going to commit to benches in the near future, and the number of benches in this style we'll still figure out. And we'll talk about it at our next meeting, which will be in a couple weeks if you're open to it. Thank you for your feedback on that. So next up, just real quickly, is the DCR MOA work plan. Tom, that was, I think, something you were going to help draft. Do you need any additional support?
no, I just have to finish some. Every time I go on the trails, I make my notes and I change it.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's why it's kind of, I mean, it is. I like to go on the trails to see exactly where it is, and I like to put, I put in the cell a little note, and across from
Yeah.
White Bagley Road, entrance there and stuff like that. So I tried to put in as much detail.
Yeah. Think about the new person that comes on board who wouldn't know unless they were following your breadcrumbs, right? Yeah.
Right.
Good.
Like I just redid the one of not Latticewoama, White Bagley. So, from the peninsula,
Yeah.
the causeway and down there, and then I marked where it should be cut. I don't see a lot of these things. I don't know if they're cut or not, but I'm marking with the assumption that they have been cut by
What
the
does cut mean? Oh,
draft.
mode. Oh, okay,
Mode,
yeah.
mode,
Yeah,
yes.
so I can tell you now what the town
Well,
had
let's,
traditionally.
yeah, I was gonna say, let me get that done and maybe we could just talk about it in 5 minutes.
Okay.
Which ones I mowed. Yeah,
Are we talking about trimming the trails or mowing?
mowing,
A
yes.
total work plan,
Yep.
a work
Okay.
plan for DCR's MOA memorandum.
Who's responsible for the Breakneck Hill concert or,
Stewardship,
yeah,
yeah,
are we responsible for that?
no, stewardship.
Well, it hasn't been cut from what I understand.
Breakneck Hill?
Yeah,
Yeah, they have a mowing contract, so
but
it gets,
my understanding was it hasn't been mowed.
Not us.
yeah. And yeah, so it may be that it's coming up, it may be, because this is the time of year when the grass is starting to grow and you gotta get on top of it. Speaking of which, we need to figure out our mowing contract and how we're gonna transition, because our new budget next year includes the mowing contract.
Hmm.
Gotta,
Okay, but there's no confusion between stewardship and us, right, as to who's
no,
responsible
no,
for Breakneck Hill?
no confusion, no.
Okay,
Are you confused? Has anyone said something?
well, I'm just confused why it hasn't been mowed.
Oh,
You know, they used to have their own tractor with their own mower. Remember, used to
that's
use
when Jim Gorse was like super volunteer and he would do all
Oh,
that work. Yeah, that's what
okay.
happens when super volunteers move on, you have to contract it out.
Yeah, they used to always have their that tractor with the mower behind it.
Yeah, he was a
Okay.
very valuable member.
I guess maybe the other thing is, they're cleaning up the Breakneck Hill dump back there.
Yep,
And they've actually sort of taken over some of the trail
yeah, they had to
to
close
build
down
the
some.
road.
Yeah,
Yeah,
that's temporary though. That'll come back.
yeah.
It's always wet down there too.
Yeah,
Kind of at the bottom of the hill.
yeah. Yep. All right, so that's that. Anything else? I think, like we talked last time, Tom, that we're gonna have like a little bit more frequency in meetings, just to, I know it's summer and fun time, but we're trying to get through this project, so everybody appreciate your
Yeah.
help.
The
Stuff.
only thing I gotta tell you, month of June for me is terrible.
Okay,
I'm gonna be traveling the 10th through the 9th, Friday, Sunday the 9th through the 12th.
yep,
And then the 17th through the 20th, I'll be gone also.
okay, so the 13th, you might be back?
I will be back. I'm flying back on the 12th.
Okay, so how about the 13th? It's a Thursday, folks,
That's good.
and
Yeah, that's good. Are we
great.
gonna do any trail maintenance in the
Thank
coming
you.
future?
Yes, and that's a great assignment. So I need some help to scour the trails. We need to get some maintenance dates on our agenda. So can we divide and conquer the trails? All
As long as I can use that, was it that tool I love?
Oh, the weed whipper. Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, as long as we can get access to the right tools, sure.
We have the right tools. What do you mean? We've got all these tools.
No. What I mean is, I know we have the right tools. It's just where do we pick them up and things like that.
Yeah.
At the cemetery.
Yeah.
But yeah, so yeah, I'm good. And like I said, during the week, couple hours, hour and a half.
Yeah, I think for me too, like, well, so I'm trying to do my, I agree. So weekdays are better at night, or now that's getting lighter. It's a little tricky as I'm trying to do, like, I have a physical therapy regimen every day to keep focused on my knees. So, so it does cut into my, like, oh, you can do it anytime. But maybe if I just exchange maintenance for physical therapy that day, it would be like, I can just bend with my tool.
How is your leg doing, by the way?
It's getting there.
Can we see it?
What? There's nothing to see. It's a leg. It's just the same. But no, it's getting there.
But Kat, you don't have to come. I mean, you can come, but you
Yeah,
don't have
you
to
don't
work
have to
week. You
come.
can
No, I
distribute-
can walk. I'm with no aid right now. I have no ambulatory aid. I'm off that, and I'm walking and hiking low altitude stuff. So it's all good. Getting bigger and stronger.
Was that 4,000 feet and less?
No, 1,000 or less now. Haven't made it.
1,000.
1,000, yeah, so.
That's impressive still.
Yeah, well, I hiked my first little mountain on Saturday of last week, Wachusett.
No, that's wonderful.
You
It's
did, which
huge.
trail did you do?
I went up Balancing Rock, so it was,
Is that behind the mountain?
yeah,
Okay.
it's actually interesting, but yeah, so progress is being made. It's just, it's
That's good.
a
That's
long process. Yeah. But so I can do some maintenance. I just have to wear my custom brace and be careful. So let's see, if we can maybe this week, kind of, how do we want to divide and conquer? Like, someone
Just-
needs to take Ward Road Trail. Someone needs to take the middle.
You know, I'll volunteer for the Ward Hill. I go there.
Ward Road, okay, thank
Now,
you.
Ward Hill, again, that's mode, but once you
Yep.
go into the woods is where you're talking about, right?
Well, no, Ward Road off of is the aqueduct right along the open channel, that area?
But that's mode.
Is it mowed right now? When did you go?
Oh, no, I'm just saying DCR or MWRA mows.
So
it.
MWRA mows it twice a year, but remember, we got an increased budget, so we could do one additional mow on that area.
Right,
Right, so we need to just see what it looks like now. Is it mowed?
Okay,
Need to
okay.
coordinate with MWRA. So, and the thing to know about Ward Road, and this may require 2 trips, right? So Ward Road, we have the open channel, and then it goes into the woods. We do need to I Spy the woods, but then where it goes into the woods and it continues along to Bigelow Road, there's an access point. So we adopted that from Sudbury Valley trustees.
I know where the entry point is on Bigelow Road. I was
Yeah.
there probably 3-4 weeks ago,
Yep.
but that was pretty good. And so
Okay.
actually, it's next to the bus stop turnaround. too.
Yes.
Okay.
You can't park there either.
Yeah, I know. Okay,
Yeah.
so going up there, you
Yeah.
pretty much go
And then
all the
you'll
way-
see where the trail intersects with ours, and then, so we just need a quick look through that, and that just might be trimming and brush cleaning on that one.
Can I safely say it's from Bigelow Road all the way to the granite aqueduct
Yes,
that they put in?
yes, perfect, you got it. Okay, so that's perfect. Then, so I can do, what I can do is Deerfoot, from Deerfoot to Parkerville, and then along, I think it's then to the footbridge and Middle Road. Sati, do you want to do your favorite?
Yep,
You know where the East Main was, where we just met the Civics Project? That little section, the
Right.
corner there. So that is part of what J&J mows. If you could do that, and then along just crossing Route 30, going along White Bagley.
Yep.
If you don't mind doing that.
Yep.
Okay, great. And then we'll, since you're helping with bench work, do you want to take a pass on this?
No, what about the Southborough or the town forest place?
Town forest is stewardship.
Oh, so we don't do that at all?
Yeah, we don't do that at all, but we could have
Well,
some.
what's left then that we do?
Yeah, let me think. So then there is White Bagley, off of Partridge Hill, off of White Bagley, where
Yeah.
we all remember where we have like all those fallen trees all the time.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
That
Yeah,
area.
that goes past the fishing rock.
Secret Island,
Secret
it's called.
Secret
Island.
Rock Island.
Okay, fine. It's very secret. You know.
Yeah.
Yeah,
That's
I
what-
mean, I can do that trail.
Okay, that would be perfect. Okay, now we've divided and conquered. Great, perfect.
Well,
And if we could do that over
9/11's
the next
another-
week.
9/11's another one that has to be done.
That's true. I can try to do 9/11 this weekend as like an excursion, because I would be spying for, I can do 9/11.
It's really, if you come in, it's counterclockwise. It's just the counterclockwise, not down the road.
Right, exactly, just inside the forest.
And really, there's only a few plots that gets with the ferns. Go
Yeah.
over. Yeah.
Yeah, and Will, when you're looking at the bomb central, when you're looking at that area, tell me if there's any trees that need to come down, because if we need budget to spend, we can maybe use it out of our current budget.
Yeah, I mean, I'm fine with that. I would like to get access to some implement of destruction, I guess from the cemetery, which is pretty convenient there.
Hmm.
What kind of implement do you want? What kind of tool do you want?
An
Anything that be
electric,
left unsupervised, we should do things in pairs.
or else just, I mean, I'm thinking, I'm thinking that might be the best implement. I mean, I could just bring some hand tools rather than that.
Well, we're just doing an assessment.
Oh, an assessment. Okay,
Yeah,
I'll
just
go
to
with
look-
that.
Yeah,
I'm gonna bring the hedgers with the battery
That's
pack
just because you
until
can't
the
help
batteries
yourself.
die.
I understand.
No, I was
But
gonna
what if
stop myself.
what if Tom injures himself and bleeds to death? I
Do
mean,
you have, do you
then we
carry
could
your
dedicate the
phone?
bench to him.
I have a satellite phone I keep with me.
Okay.
We could dedicate the bench to Tom.
Thank you. Thank you.
We are a self-serving organization. Okay, so let's all, if we can make sure we do that this coming week, and then we'll gather back at our next meeting and come up with a plan for what we need. That would be great.
Yeah,
And
sounds
speaking
good.
of which, you reminded me to say something about maintenance. I don't remember what it is now. And
Well, when are we going to contract for mowing or whatever? Do we?
yeah, that's what I'd mentioned. When I talk to DPW, I'll talk to him about that. I'll talk to Bill about it and see what he recommends.
Oh, by the way, I just to put in a plug here. I want all of you to come to this next Wednesday or the Wednesday after that to the food trucks by the library.
You reminded me. Okay, what Wednesday is that?
It's the next Wednesday and the Wednesday after that, from
Just two?
Oh, those are
3:30 to
dates.
7. Pardon?
Dates. Okay. Speaking of dates, I'm glad you just reminded me, Will. So thank you for the plug on trucks. I want to show you this. So this is the last thing. So remember, and you weren't here, Tom, but we had the 8th graders came by, had reached out to us about a civics project. So they proposed a trail and they did some action. They did some work as far as like contacting DCR and understanding how the whole process worked. So they are doing their civics project showcase this Monday, June 3rd at 8 a.m. At Trodia Middle School. And the student was Sean Devlin, and there was another student involved. I'm trying to remember. It started with a C. I hate to
But
not.
this is sort of more of an Imagine kind of project, right?
Well, they were envisioning it, right?
Envisioning. Okay.
Yeah, so because they wanted to they wanted to propose something and then see if that's something that
Carson Miller.
yeah,
Carson
Carson
Miller.
Miller. Yeah, thank
Mm.
you. I just wanted to give him cred because he was a part of that project. So if anyone's open, I'm gonna try to go 8 a.m. on Monday. It's right before work, just to see what they came up with and to see, because this is a great opportunity if they come back in future years, to kind of get involved with the school system a little bit more, and we haven't been able to do that. So this would be a nice thing. If anyone wants to join us, we'll just, it's
Yeah,
just,
I'll try.
sounds like it's gonna be like a little fair. You just walk through like a science fair, but a civics fair.
Can you scroll down? Can I see what they did?
Oh, yeah. So what they were proposing here, sorry, let me see if I can make it bigger without, it's not working. I can't.
It's fine.
That's fine. You can just
Yeah, so
describe it.
basically, this is the, where are we?
Aqueduct, yep.
Yeah, but it's oh, Route 30, yeah, the causeway. So oh yeah. So this is East Main here.
Yep.
And this is the beginning of the Sudbury Reservoir Trail, right? So they were
Right.
proposing going along here all the way into here. And this P, we don't know where this P is. Sati and I could not find the P, and we could not find a way that this whole trail would go to that neighborhood either. Or if that's a trail, we don't know what that is. Anyway, we took a walk about in there, and there's a couple of areas where the water is like a inlet and or where a culvert is coming
Culvert.
out from the road and into, so it would require a couple small bridges. It wasn't straightforward, and it's also within the buffer zone that DCR likes to keep safe from, to protect the water. So there were some challenges, but also some opportunities. So it was interesting to explore, and there's lots of ticks back there, and that's what I have to say about that.
All right.
Okay.
So yeah, it was an interesting thing. And yeah, so if you can go, Claudia, 8 a.m. Yeah. Okay. So we said the next meeting was going to be, the date was the
It was the
13th, right?
13th, right?
6/13 at 7:30.
Yep.
Okay, great. Thank you all. So do we have someone who will propose to adjourn
Adjournment.
8:26 PM?
So
Who was that?
moved.
So moved, that was Tom, and second,
Second,
Will. Okay, all in
Yes.
favor, Satyendra Sharma,
Yes.
Tom McCoolier,
Yes.
Will Warren,
yes.
Pat McKee, yes, great, thank you, meeting adjourned, and Sati, I'll see you on Sunday, I'll text you just to
Okay.
remind us, to coordinate a time, okay?
Yep.
Thank you all,
All right, good
All
night.
right.
have a good night.